I don't know what that is. Oh fuck. Is it a shed? Or is it like where someone's living? Oh, I don't know.
On March 24th, 2024, the YouTube channel Into the Void, well known for exploring paranormal and unexplained events, released a chilling upload that unsettled thousands of viewers. The channel often investigates haunted places, cryptid hotspots, and locations with unusual reputations. This time, the focus shifted to something rarely considered storm drains. The video opens with the host sitting inside his car, parked on the edge of a quiet city neighborhood. He explains his plan to enter a nearby drainage tunnel hidden below the streets. These narrow, echoing passages are easy to ignore, yet they often provide the perfect setting for strange, unexplainable encounters. Armed with only a flashlight, a camera, and determination, the host descended into one such drain. From the start, the mood was heavy. Water dripped from the walls. Darkness swallowed everything beyond the flashlight's beam, and each step deeper made the sense of isolation heavier. As the tunnel grew tighter, turning back became more difficult. Then something changed. At the edge of the light, faint outlines appeared, silent, human-like shapes lingering just out of focus. At first, they seemed like tricks of the shadows, but they didn't disappear. Their slow, deliberate movements suggested something real and dangerous. When the tunnel curved and narrowed further, he froze, visibly uneasy. That's when it began.
Close this off a little bit. I'm really not looking forward to this. I don't know what that was. I need to take a breather. What the fuck? Nope. I'm dipping out. Fuck this shit. I don't know what that is. Oh fuck.
That's when it began, a piercing screech, metallic and distorted, echoing from deeper inside. It wasn't any animal sound he knew carrying, instead a warped tone that spiked his adrenaline. Another shriek followed, closer and louder. Panic overtook him. Without hesitation, he turned and sprinted back. The tunnel now felt suffocating, every splash of his steps, chased by the fear of being followed. Gasping for breath, his flashlight beam jerked across the walls as he pushed toward escape. At last, he burst back into daylight, physically fine but clearly shaken. Above ground, he struggled to explain what had happened. The noises, harsh, mechanical, almost digital, didn't match any normal source. And those dark figures, too indistinct to identify, but too consistent to ignore. Viewers speculated widely. Some argued it was a cryptid, possibly the Rake, or a legend like the Wendigo. Others thought it might have been a squatter using sound devices to drive people away. Still, nothing accounted for the unnatural screeches or the overwhelming feeling of being watched. Could this storm drain conceal something undiscovered? Something that thrives in the forgotten spaces beneath the city? Or was it just fear, magnified by a claustrophobic environment? Either way, the video leaves one lasting question. Do the darkest things hide out in the wilderness, or right below our feet? Kevin the Mind behind the YouTube channel Small Plots is known for his understated urban stealth camping content. Instead of flashy editing or risky stunts, his videos emphasize raw, grounded experiences in unusual, often forgotten places, empty parking areas, suburban woodlands, and in this case, a half-flooded forest near an electrical substation. The setting for this solo trip was remote, yet uncomfortably close to human activity. Kevin had been through before, recalling that he once got asked to leave while biking nearby, making secrecy even more critical for this camp. The video opens with Kevin pushing through soggy brush, wading through ankle-high water-fallen branches and thick tangles. The ground was slick and uneven. Dead ash trees dominated the forest remnants of an emerald ash borer outbreak, leaving the woods with a withered, forsaken look. He eventually picked a small clearing away from the main path where he set up his hammock and tarp. But even during setup, the atmosphere felt off. No people were present. No footprints yet. Traces of human activity lingered trimmed branches.
So there are, you just see on the ground over here, it's not recent, but some of these branches and stuff are cut mechanically. Probably a small electric chainsaw, something like that. So it's very possible. I mean, I already know hunters come back here. That's probably who it is. If the rain lets up, I will go a little bit farther into the woods. I think there are homes this way. I'm not too sure, but I think that's where they are.
Reflective trail markers and an overgrown ATV track. The signs hinted at visitors, though it was impossible to know when or why.
The entire time I've been here, since I walked into the forest, I've been hearing this wailing sound. Like a no, some kind of animal. It's actually now just occurring to me. It might be a chicken or a rooster or something. But it's eerie. It's starting to let up a little bit, which is nice. That's the sound, the wail I'm talking about, the wailing. That has to be a chicken or something, right? Something. Kind of sounds like a rooster, like half-heartedly crowing. I'll have to boost the audio on that.
As night fell, the forest came alive with unnerving noises. Kevin at first tried to dismiss them. Maybe animals, perhaps distant birds. But the sounds shifted and persisted. Thin, high-pitched cries rose through the trees, sometimes resembling faint voices. With the fog and the low electrical hum from the substation, the effect was deeply unsettling. Since the ground was too wet for a fire, Kevin settled for a cold dinner, trying to keep his mood up. Still, he was clearly uneasy. He stopped mid-sentence, often scanning the darkness. At one point, he admitted he felt watched, not panicked, but with that sharp awareness that you may not be alone when far from safety. The night itself passed without incident, though the tension never let go. At sunrise, while packing, Kevin spotted things he had missed in the dim light.
Oh my god, it's a boat. It feels pretty interesting, I'm not gonna lie. I've noticed it on the map before. There's a potential place to camp. Yeah, something's over there. I can't see it. Let's go check out this boat real quick before I get out of here. All right, it sounds like it's leaving, whatever it is. Yeah, it's just a boat, some garbage, yeah. More implied trail going this way, probably to homes over there. Some metal, some rocks. This raised area almost looks like a man-made raised area, like there was a building here at one point, maybe years ago. Maybe where's where that boat came from. Weird place for a boat. Right next to this berm that may have something to do with the railroad that used to run through here, I don't know. Well, that was a fun little unexpected discovery. Right next to us the whole night, just a boat. Just a boat. All right.
Just off the trail sat an old boat strangely balanced on a man-made rise. Nearby, broken concrete and rusting scraps suggested a structure once stood there, long gone, yet leaving its mark.
Is it a shed? Or is it like where someone's living? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I think somebody might be staying there. I'm not going to get any closer. I thought it looked like a big metal shed. It's not. It's like a tarp covering stuff. Okay. All right.
Following a faint path farther in, Kevin saw something in the distance. At first, he thought it was an abandoned shed. Approaching slowly, he realized it was a tarp stretched across what looked like a rough shelter, possibly still in use. The sudden thought that someone could have been nearby the entire night made Kevin retreat. Choosing not to intrude, and increasingly uneasy, he packed up quickly and headed out of the woods. Though no direct encounter occurred, the outing unsettled viewers. The strange noises, the heavy silence, and the presence of what might have been a lived-in shelter left troubling questions. Had someone been aware of him all along? Could the sounds have been a warning to scare him away? Or was something else at play? Even without an overt threat, the isolation tension and unanswered possibilities made it one of Kevin's most unnerving trips yet. Is it more disturbing to hear a sound you can't explain, or to realize you were never truly alone? Sometimes it isn't the terrain or the weather that makes a camping trip terrifying. Sometimes it's what or who stays just beyond the trees, never revealing themselves. What do you think really happened out there? LPC is a YouTube creator known for his raw, unfiltered camping adventures in some of the most remote and unpredictable places on Earth. But on July 16, 2016, what began as a routine solo outing turned into one of the most unsettling nights he ever captured. This trip took him deep into untouched wilderness, far from human presence. As with most of his journeys, the goal was simple isolation, quiet, and immersion in nature. The first part of the evening passed uneventfully. No strange sounds, no visible threats. Everything pointed to a peaceful, uneventful night. That changed shortly after 200 a.m. Inside his tent, he was suddenly struck by an overwhelming sense that something was wrong. It wasn't a noise that woke him at first, but an undeniable gut feeling that something nearby wasn't right. Moments later, that feeling was confirmed. From just outside camp came a deep rumbling roar. It was unmistakable, the call of a lion. and from the intensity, it was close. Lions rarely target people, but when you're alone, unarmed, and shielded only by fabric, even those odds don't bring much comfort. Frozen in place, he quietly began recording. He didn't yell. He didn't unzip the tent. Any movement could have drawn notice. He had no real defense, no fire, no car, no weapon. Just the thin tent walls and the breath of a predator outside. The next several minutes became a test of nerves. Breathing shallowly, fighting panic, he waited each second, dragging endlessly. The lion didn't attack, but it didn't leave immediately either. Its presence pressed in from beyond the nylon wall, creating a sense of vulnerability no footage could fully capture. Eventually, the roars grew faint. The danger seemed to pass, but the damage was done. Sleep was impossible. The night had shifted from retreat to raw survival. By morning, he walked away unharmed, but permanently altered. The encounter highlighted a harsh truth in the wild: you're never really in control. No matter your skill or preparation, nature decides the outcome. What made this experience so terrifying wasn't just the lion itself, it was the complete defenselessness. No cage, no vehicle, no barrier. Some viewers suggested the lion may have been checking its territory, or perhaps attracted by food smells. Others thought it was simply passing by. Whatever the reason, his decision to stay silent and still likely prevented escalation. It's a powerful reminder that instinct and restraint can mean the difference between survival and disaster. How would you respond if an apex predator stood just feet away in the dead of night in the wilderness? The most dangerous thing isn't always what you see, it's what waits watching in the dark. On April 13, 2025, a UK camping YouTuber made his return to the hills after being away for a long stretch. Accompanied only by his faithful dog Fendi, he headed into the moorlands, hoping to reconnect with the outdoors and find a quiet moment. The plan was straightforward: trek into the ruins of an old reservoir settlement, take in the scenery, and clear his mind. But by the end of the night, that pursuit of solitude would be overshadowed by a persistent feeling that something or someone might have been watching.
So, we're finally out, and as you can see, Fendi's enjoying herself. He's such an idiot. How long is it since I last did a video? A couple of months, isn't it? Now I just really just need to get out and get away from it all. And I really hope that nothing weird happens tonight, because I just need to be out in a bit of solace. Come on, mate, you can do it. Come here, mate, you got turd hanging out your ass. And as you can see, absolutely glorious out. But I've waited until 6 o'clock at night to come out, because obviously it's too warm for Fendi. It's been about 20 degrees Celsius today, -1 tonight. Nuts, isn't it? Hey up, what's this? Someone's little shelter. There's loads of these structures up here. They were all built by navvies when they were building the reservoirs. There's reservoirs all over here, dotted about everywhere. Look, this is where one of them's been mined out, or that might have even been a dwelling there. Another dwelling there. All these, that would have been a dwelling there. All these walls here, look, dry stone walls. All little villages and that dotted about up here up on moors. Absolutely love it up here. Wrong way.
He arrived late in the day, waiting for the sun to dip, so it would be cooler for his dog.
A little scrap. Yeah, so I might have to find somewhere a bit different. Mind you, it is a bit early. There's another corridor into some more dwellings, another little village. This would be my preferred spot, with this view out over here. And the sun will rise, sun will set over there, and it should rise over there somewhere. So I'd love to pitch tent here and get a nice sunrise in the morning and a sunset tonight, but we'll see.
The place felt familiar: broad moorland, bordered by weathered stone walls and the remnants of once lived-in villages. Dry stacked walls, hollowed shelters, and scattered ruins lined the path traces of the workers locally called navvies, who once constructed the area's railways and reservoirs. Many of those structures have endured for centuries, and the hiker knew them well.
I knew something was going to go wrong. This sleep pad, it's just gone down. I've blown it up twice, and I've made sure that the valve is seated correctly. Now, I don't know if Fendi's popped it by walking on it, but she hasn't popped any of my other ones. But I've had a bottle of wine, and I've drove here, so I'm just going to have to stick it out. Normally when this had happened, I'd just chill out for a bit and then go home, but because I've had a bottle of wine, I can't drive. So, stuck here. I knew something was going to go wrong tonight. I knew it. Were it you? You done it. Look, what are you doing? Oi.
As night fell, he set up his tent beside one of the stone ruins, picking a spot that offered both a view of the sunset and a clear line of sight for sunrise. It seemed like an ideal location until things began to go wrong. His sleeping mat lost air shortly after he finished setting up camp. Despite reinflating it and checking the valve, it kept leaking. With no spare and unable to travel, having consumed alcohol, he accepted a cold night on a foil emergency blanket. Forecasts called for temperatures to drop below freezing.
Come this way, pass this way. It breaks me heart, mate. Oh, look. One of these little village things. The little moth there. Can you see his eyes glowing up red? Bet you can't, can you? Let's see what's down here. Imagine living up here back in like the 1800s or whatever. No electricity, no running water, nothing. You just have to have a campfire, wouldn't you, with your mates, huddled up together to keep warm. Look at the night sky as well. Don't know if you'll be able to see it. Oh, stars are out tonight. Of course they are, me and Fendi are out. We're the stars, aren't we? Looks like somebody else has been up here having a bit of a fire, dragging pallets and stuff up. Hey up, little bird, look there. Can you see it? Just on top of the wall. There. Alright mate, we're friends.
Later that evening, he wandered out with Fendi to look over more of the abandoned buildings. The ruins, once likely alive with workers, now stood silent beneath the stars. While shooting a segment about the site's past, he noticed signs of recent visitors, scorched ground, leftover pallets, and evidence of a campfire. Then something shifted. A distant sound or motion briefly drew his attention. Although he dismissed it as wildlife, the feeling lingered. There were no other tents nearby. The nearest road lay miles away.
Right, I'm gonna see if I can get my head down for a bit on this crappy mat. If anything happens, then I'll let you know. Hello? Hello? Oh, you that duck then? I'm pretty sure I heard some footsteps, but it's probably a bird, isn't it? No sheep about, I can't see any eyes anyway. Oh, look how pretty it is. Alright mate, yeah, can you hear birds over there?
Back at his tent, he attempted to settle. But Fendi grew uneasy, pawing at the fabric near the entrance and turning toward the tent wall. At one point, she fixed her gaze on one spot, and when he peered outside, there was nothing. No reflective eyes, no animals, no noise except for the distant hum of wind turbines. The wind picked up through the night, dragging leaves into the tent's doorway. He kept waking up, adjusting his equipment, and checking on his dog. The uncomfortable feeling never fully eased. This wasn't a tale of terror, but of quiet unease, that sinking sense when the world feels only slightly wrong. The place's history only added to the weight. These hills once echoed with hard labor isolation and likely sorrow. The ruins remain as reminders of lives gone by, but perhaps not entirely forgotten. Was it merely animals rustling in the dark? Or something left behind in stone and wind? If you were camping beside centuries-old ruins, and your dog began reacting to something unseen, would you spend the night? Have you ever felt watched in the wild with no one else around? Tell us in the comments. Outdoor Family is a Turkish YouTube channel recognized for its peaceful and heartwarming videos that highlight the beauty of life in nature. With an emphasis on family time, campfire cooking, and slow living, their work usually captures the calm and gentle side of being outdoors. But during one particular trip in autumn, the atmosphere changed.
Güzel bir manzara.
Ne güzelmiş ha.
Ya bulutlar harika.
Harikadır. Anne neredesin? Yukarı görüyor musun?
The family had set up their camp at the edge of a quiet clearing surrounded by trees glowing with shades of orange and gold. The skies were clear, the air was crisp, and everything appeared perfect for a night beneath the stars. They collected wood, brewed tea, and soaked in the quiet of their surroundings.
Ses geldi baba.
Ne?
Hayvan sesi ya. Ne oldu ne? Çakal mı, kurt mu?
Bir şey gözüküyor mu?
Yok bir şey.
Ha?
Yok bir şey. Bu etraflarda hayvan çok. Kurt var, çakal var, ayı var.
Yet as darkness spread and shadows stretched longer across the trees, the silence was gradually replaced by something much less comforting. At first, the noises seemed ordinary, branches snapping in the distance, faint howls drifting through the hills, the wind brushing against the canopy. But after the fire went out and the family retreated inside their tent, the sounds grew louder and more distinct. Heavy footsteps, deep growls. Something moved just out of sight, circling their camp.
Hava. Aşkım,
Ben
duydun mu?
neyi?
Bir şey çadırı vurdu. Aşkım.
Bir bakayım.
Aşkım dikkat et.
Bir bakayım.
Hava dikkatli ol. Avat.
Efendim.
Neredesin?
Buraya geliyor.
Neydi?
Bilmiyorum ki. Bir şey görmem. Hayvan mı lan? Bu etrafta. Hadi canım hadi. Hadi gidelim. Bir şey yok.
Inside the tent, their dog grew uneasy, pacing and whining. Moments later, something struck the fabric from outside with force. There were no other people nearby. Every member of the family was accounted for. The father cautiously stepped outside, sweeping a flashlight across the clearing, but nothing appeared. Even so, the feeling of dread remained. The rest of the night passed in fragments of broken sleep and mounting unease.
Ne oldu? Şey mi buldun? Her yer çamur ya.
Baba bu neyse?
Bu mu? Bu kurt. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bak
Çok güzel.
çok büyük ya. Görüyor musun? Hadi büyük. Dün gecedeki kurt olabilir. Burada her ne izi istersen var ya bak. Domuz, inek, kurt. Ayı da olabilir.
Bak.
O da var. Hadi gidelim. Çok güzeldi ama. Afro'da arabaları sesi.
Evet.
10 taneydi. Geldi o tarafa. Onu araba.
When morning came, the family stepped outside to search for signs of what had happened. Around their tent, the ground was covered in tracks, large paw prints pressed deep into the mud. They were far too big to belong to any stray dog. Later, when they reviewed footage from a trail camera set up near their camp, the truth became clear. A gray wolf had circled their tent for much of the night. The video showed the animal moving carefully, never aggressive, but always close. At one point, the wolf walked directly in front of the lens, its glowing eyes reflecting in the infrared before it slipped back into the trees. It never lunged or barked, but returned several times, watching silently. Additional signs suggested more wildlife in the area: wild boar cattle tracks, and even markings that could have belonged to a bear. The clearing was not just peaceful ground. It was active wilderness, and the family had not been alone. The experience serves as a reminder of the fragile line between human presence and the wild. Though the family remained unharmed, the realization that a predator had been so close for so long left the night with unforgettable weight. Uploaded on January 26, 2023, this video from the Channel 401 Files documents a solo wild camping trip in Dalby Forest, North Yorkshire, a place frequently linked to unexplained events. From reported UFO sightings and strange lights to cryptid encounters and tales of mutilated animals, the forest carries a long and disturbing reputation. The creator, known for a careful, measured take on fringe subjects, picked this spot not only for the hardship of winter camping, but because of its past full of reports of encounters that resist easy explanation.
Around the world. I've brought you back today to a place that we have explored before. This was last year, and it's a place that has dogman sightings, creepy stories and evidence, cases of human mutilation, animal mutilation, UFOs and extraterrestrials, and everything in between. This is Dalby Forest, a large forested area situated on the east coast of Britain, and we're going to spend the night here tonight and explore this chilly day.
The outing began in brutal conditions. Temperatures had plunged well below freezing, and the biting cold made even simple chores like pitching gear and operating a camera a struggle. Still, he pushed on, drawn to the forest's silence and the mystery that seemed to hang in the air. With snow underfoot and a heavy stillness everywhere, the mood felt quietly haunting. He was joined only by his dog Lily, whose glowing collar made it easier to follow her movements in the dark.
Hi guys, I'm not sure how well you can all hear me. Just come into the woods, sat down, dropped my bag, got my little lantern set up at the side of me. It's absolutely freezing. The forecast did predict that the temperature would be dropping significantly as the night progresses, but my god, it's extremely cold. I've not even checked how cold it is on my phone right now. I'm trying to preserve the battery best I can so I can get the filming done and use this as an emergency point of call if I need to. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I won't, but yeah, it is extremely cold. I'm gonna get a hot drink on right now because I need to get something warm inside me as this temperature begins to drop and drop even further. So Lily's got her collar on, her illuminated collar, just for anyone that's interested. The colors tonight is green. Last time we had red, tonight it's green. So if you do see any green lights running through the trees behind me, it's likely to be Lily. Yeah, so far so good. The night came in pretty quick, and I've been stressed, I won't lie, trying to get the tap set up and things with my hands being so cold. I've been really stressed trying to get the ridge line up and peg that thing down because it is quite windy. Hopefully it's not showing too much on the video. I had to crouch down behind a tree right now just so you guys can hear me. All the recordings before this was just far too windy. You could hardly hear a thing I was saying. But yeah, I've struggled with the tap. I've got that up now, and like I've said, I'm just going to get a hot drink on and talk to you guys through the night.
As night descended, the forest sounds started to change. The tarp creaked. There were faint rustles off in the distance, and barely audible steps added tension to an already difficult camp. It was cold. It was dark, and he was utterly alone, except for whatever might have been moving just beyond sight. Then the lights showed up. Small orbs hovered near the horizon. They blinked on and off, too low to be stars and too erratic to be distant cars or aircraft. They never held a steady position for long and were too distant to reach in the freezing conditions.
There's some lights over there in the distance. I'm not sure what that is. My initial thought, well, that's Lily, obviously the green one, and she's really close to me, but those two white lights seem really far from the distance. My original thought just then was maybe a road, but they don't seem to be moving. And they're not constant, they keep going on and off. And one of them just got really bright, so I have no idea what that is. Try and zoom in. Seems like there's three now as well, like there's a middle one turning up.
The camera recorded part of the display, though the extreme cold made it almost impossible to hold steady or record for long. Later into the night, the feeling of isolation grew. Every time he turned to the camera, everything behind him dissolved into absolute black. He couldn't see more than a few feet past the light, and given the location's history, that detail felt increasingly unnerving. Dalby Forest has long been tied to odd reports, a pattern that attracted investigators like Tony Dodd, a former police officer who became a UFO researcher. Dodd recorded cases of animal mutilations in the area, frequently noting precise cuts that did not resemble predator damage. There were also accounts of strange figures moving through the trees and lights that defied normal explanation.
I've said this before, but I'm really gonna quickly just throw this in there once more, is that when I'm filming like this, the light on the phone is shining at me, and that's why I'm illuminated. Granted, I've got this little lantern in my hand right as well, this little thing here. But the downside to that behind the camera right now, I can't see anything. It's pitch black. And so technically something could be stood, I would have no idea. That's a terrifying thought. Anyway, you guys get back, like I say, wherever you are, stay warm, because where I am right now, I'd love to be where you are, in the warmth of your house, under the covers. Let me take one for the team. You guys get back, relax, and enjoy. I'm just looking up through the tree canopy right now, and I can quite distinctly see the Seven Sisters, the Pleiades constellation. And whenever I'm out and it's a clear night, that is always the constellation that I tend to gravitate to, because in my opinion, that's where they're coming from. You know, there will be many other constellations out there where life forms are leaving and returning day in, day out. No doubt about that. But the one that keeps cropping up, if we go off eyewitness testimonies and abduction claims, is the Pleiades constellation. You know, a lot of these people come back and report that these beings come from around that area. So I always look up at that and just think that is where they are, as well as many other places.
As the host kept filming through the night, he referenced the Pleiades, a star cluster often mentioned in alien abduction lore. The stars hung above the canopy, acting as both a source of contemplation and unease. The silence around him deepened. Eventually, he managed to catch some sleep, but the lights went unexplained. The noises outside the tarp were never identified, and the sensation of being watched, never proven but never dismissed, stayed with him long after sunrise. Dalby Forest is one of many spots in the UK where folklore speculation and personal experience intersect. Whether the lights were natural phenomena or something else entirely remains unresolved. But the area's history, from alleged abductions to mutilation reports, casts a persistent shadow. This particular encounter provided no clear answers, but it became another entry in a growing set of moments suggesting something unusual still occurs in these remote places. Was it merely windquirks of light and solitude playing tricks on the mind, or something more intentional? Could the forest past be linked to patterns we still fail to understand? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've experienced anything strange in the woods, you're not alone. That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.